If you improve not your best months when you're more consistent, but your worst months when you're least consistent, you will look better and see more gains than 80% of guys who are trying to fix their physique. The highest ROI thing that you can do is not focus on getting a new routine or improving your lifts and getting a new fitness plan. It's to focus on creating a course of action to prevent lack and loss of consistency. I remember ever since I started working out at around the age of 14, I always worked out and just did my own thing. I never really had much of a planned routine, and because of that, I saw massive gains in the gym. It's simply because I worked out very consistently. And yes, throughout high school, I did end up playing football and I got into the weight room and doing all these different things, but my football career ended around the age of 17. Most people stop working out around that age, and then they grow up and they end up being 22, 20, 23, 24. Maybe like you watching this video right now, maybe you're a little bit older and younger, but you still don't have the physique that you want. Most people who even play sports, they stop working out and then they look like average guys. So you have to ask yourself, and I asked myself this question: what is it that's stopping you from getting the physique you want? It's the lack of consistency. It's those vital weeks in which you stop going to the gym for maybe a week at a time, and then that week rolls into 2 weeks, and then those 2 weeks roll into 3 months, into 1 month. And then that behavior becomes a habit. And that's what drastically reduces your volume, because everyone knows that you can go the science-based route and understand that, yes, the more volume that you use in exercises, the more volume that you apply your exercises, the more sets that you hit, the more muscle you will grow. That's true. But think about it. The trick isn't to increase the sets in your workouts, is to increase the sets in your overall lifetime. I realize the biggest thing that's holding you back are those weeks when you stop going in which you hit no sets. It's those 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months when you've hit 0 sets at the gym. I had a day where I didn't want to hit my leg day. I was tired from work and I was coming home and I was just completely tired. So I told myself that I would just do 1 set of squat. So what I did was 1 set of squat. I went to the gym and I got at the squat rack and I did 1 really good set. And because I did 1 set, I tried to make sure that it was as intentional as it possibly could be. I got like the best full depth squat ever. And it was a really good set. As a matter of fact, at that time, I was struggling with knee pains in my squat, but because I perfected my form, I pretty much cured it. But what happened was, because I did 1 set of squat, I decided to do another and then another. The next thing you know, I did 5 sets all the way working up to my 80% max. And then I got on the leg extension machine, and then I got on the hip thrust machine. Next thing you know, I actually ended up completing my entire leg day. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because if you did the bare minimum when you went to go work out, you would have missed less gym days. You would have hit more sets and hit more volume, and you would have the physique that you want by now. Before we begin, my name is Chike, and I've been in the gym for roughly 10 years now. I've been working out ever since I was 14 years old, and as a result, I've just become a gym rat at heart. And because I'm a gym rat, I've achieved the aesthetic body that you see now. I've achieved a really good natural physique. I built all this muscle naturally because I have a love for the gym. And so you have to ask yourself, what is the way that you could look like me? If I were to implant my brain into your head and you were to get your body back maybe a year later, you would see a lot more lean mass on your body than you do now. The issue isn't your routine. The issue isn't just your diet plan. Those things may need some work and some tweaking, but those aren't the issues. The issues is that you don't have the brain of a gym rat. You're not a gym rat. And so if I really want to help you, then my goal and my aim and my mission and my purpose is to make you and turn you into a gym rat. I'm starting a movement because you're not meant to be the out of shape person that you are now. Society has conditioned you to be out of shape, as it conditioned you to be lazy, to eat estrogenic foods, and to make you into a docile, more castrated version of yourself. That's not what you're meant to be, whether you're a man or woman. You're meant to be active. You're meant to be fit because your ancestors used to chase down lions. They used to chase down elephants until they got tired. You know, back in certain areas of human history in which people would be lifting up 100 pounds of hay and 100 pounds of different things just to do their daily work, and still had enough energy to do other things in the day. In other words, human beings are meant to be active. You're meant to be active. You're sick of the body that you have. You're sick of the physique that you have, whether you look average or whether you're too skinny or you're too fat. You should have the discipline and the ability to achieve this body. But there's certain societal factors and physical factors and mental factors that's affecting you. Namely, you're just not a gym rat at heart. You need to become a gym rat because you just not finna get the body you want unless you do. You just not finna have that body. And so my mission is to teach you how to build as much lean mass as possible the right way without eating dirty foods, without using steroids or whatever the crap all of these fucking influencers talk about, and to love this as a lifestyle, to see the joy in fitness, to get rid of the analysis paralysis that's in today's media. I'm trying to keep you from looking at all these people that are like, oh, do this science-based workout, do this is the best way to build your biceps. We're not doing that shit. It's just to teach you how to love fitness as a lifestyle, because truth be told, you just not finna have the body you want unless you turn your brain off and love the journey. So that's what we're here for. And with that being said, we need to talk about what is the biggest difference between you and a gym rat. I learned that the biggest difference between you right now and a gym rat like myself is consistency. That is the biggest difference. Gym rats are better at being consistent than you are. Yes, because they love the gym and all these things. But if you think about it, you have a tendency to skip gym days. Gym rats have a tendency to skip their rest days. That's the difference. Gym rats are better at being consistent. So what we have to do is understand, if you were to take a gym rat and look at their day-to-day life and you, or maybe just an average guy, we'll call him Dave, right? Dave probably hits the same workouts that the gym rat does. He probably does bicep curls, bench press, overhead tricep press. He probably does squat and all the other exercises that the gym rat does. If you notice Dave's exercises, the average guy, and the gym rat's exercises, the only difference in their exercises is that the gym rat has been doing them for longer. He can do more weight and more, maybe he can do more reps or more weight than Dave can, but they're the same exact exercise. They may even have the same diet. That's the funny thing. The difference between Dave and the gym rat is that the gym rat actually likes to be there and it has become his personality. And therefore, the gym rat will stay in the gym consistently. The gym rat may even, on his rest day, come to the gym and do lightweight exercises that aren't in his routine. I remember one time I actually went to the gym yesterday and it was a rest day for me. And a guy looked surprised. He was like, oh, what? You do that? You just come to the gym on a rest day and just do lightweight and stretching and just do whatever you want? I told him, yeah, that's exactly what I do. I will go to the gym and just do whatever I want at the gym on my rest days. That's the gym rat. Dave, the average guy, what he does is that he's really disciplined. He'll be really disciplined for a long time and he'll have this really good routine. And if you stuck to it, you would have the physique that you want, but then he doesn't get it. He doesn't get that physique because one day he gets too tired or he misses work or it's some sort of fuck up in the schedule. You had something you had a set schedule, right? Like I told you. And then something fucks that up. Something messes up that schedule and it causes you to either wake up too late or too early or you stay after work for too long or something. And then you stop going. You sacrifice the gym and then it's one day, then it's 2 days, and it's 3 days, and the next thing you know, you haven't gone for a month. So what is the main element that's causing the disparity between the gym rat and yourself with consistency, right? Because we already established it's consistency. It's actually willpower. See, the gym rat, he has established and practiced willpower enough with going to the gym and building strength than Dave has, than you have. Now it's to a point where the gym rat can't live without it. It's the same thing with you. Your willpower is weak in the times where it's very necessary, but you've had willpower before because you've been to the gym. You've been to the gym for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you followed a very rigorous training program. You've done a routine. You've done a routine and you stuck to it. You probably had times where you've been consistent for a month and 2 months, right? You try hard. You're not a bad person. You've done the work, but why don't you have your body? Because you ain't done it for long enough. You turn into a lazy bastard. And so the trick isn't getting more willpower. You think that it's about getting more willpower and that being more disciplined, but that's actually not the truth. The truth actually lies in the preservation of willpower. In order to understand what I mean, you need to understand how willpower works. So just imagine for a second, willpower is like an infinite ocean. Willpower is completely limitless. Imagine that willpower is an ocean, but Your ability to utilize willpower is limited within a certain time frame at a certain magnitude. So we can pretend for a second that willpower resets every week or 2 weeks or so, depending on you, depending on the individual, but depending on you, right? Let's say that your willpower capacity is of that of like a glass cup, like just a glass or maybe a mason jar. Your ability to draw on willpower depends on how much water you can fit in your container, in your own respective container. So you go to the ocean and you scoop this water in a jar or in a cup, and then you bring it home and you say, okay, this is my willpower. Every time I do something hard, every time I reach my highest aim, or I do something that's for like my highest aim. So for you, it may not just be fitness. It could be something to do with work, or maybe kids, or some other discipline. Anytime you have to utilize discipline for something that you really care about, something that you know that you really have to do in your heart and your soul, that willpower gets drained, because your willpower gets drained every time you deviate from the realm of comfort. See, comfort is subjective to everybody. My level of comfort is probably different from your level of comfort. Because I've been to the gym for so long, I'm more comfortable with going to the gym. You aren't. Bottom line is, the more disciplined you are, discipline is predicated on your ability to deviate from comfort. So your willpower will be drained in correlation with the magnitude of the amount of discipline that you have to exhibit when you're doing a certain activity. For you, that's the gym. With that being said, every time you go to the gym, you have to pour water out that jar. The more you do in the gym, the more water you have to pour out that jar. With this analogy, the issue isn't that you don't hit the gym hard enough. It's not that you aren't pouring enough water out the jar. It's that you're not making the jar last longer. That's the problem. Because the highest ROI thing that you can do is not pour more water out the jar, but pour water out the jar every single day until you have to refill it again. So if you wanted to preserve water out the jar, what would you do? You would pour less water out of the jar on some days when you know that you can't afford it. That's how willpower works. The trick is that you have to make your willpower last and preserve it for longer. Willpower and discipline, it wanes. It's not like a consistent thing. And you know this because when do you normally fall off? Is it after you've gone light? Is it after you've kind of done a deload week, or after you really haven't done much in the gym? It's normally after you do more than you normally do. It's every time you fall off from the gym, it's because you are do more than you normally do. You do a lot of work, like even if it's just 2 sets. If you're the guy who's just not used to going to the gym at all and you start going, that's like your new max. That mode of being, that mode of living is your new max. That's like your highest version of yourself that you're living. The better you are at being disciplined and the better you do for your life, the more it drains your willpower, because you still need to adapt. You still need to adapt to that lifestyle. So the trick is preserving that willpower. It's preserving that water in the jar. But there's another solution to that. It's also simply by getting a bigger jar. The more that you preserve your willpower, the more that you consistently draw water from the ocean, and the more that you consistently pour water out the jar, the bigger your jar can get, the bigger that bucket can get. The trick is by being consistent. Being consistent will progressively level up your ability to utilize willpower. It'll progressively level up your ability to do more in a day. For example, I used to be able to do deep work for maybe 3 hours. But after consistently doing deep work and preserving my mental energy and preserving my willpower on times when I feel like I couldn't do deep work, my deep work time span now is gone from 3 hours to literally 5 hours. I'll literally do 5 hours of deep work, sitting in here, scripting, recording, working on my course, and doing other things for my job in the military and whatnot. You see what I mean? The reason why the gym rat can do so well is because he spent such a long time consistently going to the gym day by day, even on days like when he even had to work out, he would just go to the gym just to play around and whatnot, and not really take things seriously. That now it's like going to the gym for him is like a game for him. It's not even willpower. So what's the practical step, and what is the main thing that I'm trying to teach in this video? Because I think that you understand the point what I'm trying to get at. The trick is, on your worst days, on your days when you don't feel like doing anything, the days when you know that you're about to miss the gym, just do one single set. Do one set of the workout and then tell yourself that you're okay. Because doing a single set will ensure that you stay consistent in going to the gym. You don't want to level up in your weights right now because you fall off from the gym after just 2 weeks of going, 3 weeks of going, or maybe a month of going. You want to level up in your ability to go to the gym. That's what you want to do. You want to focus on leveling up on your capacity to go, not on your abilities inside. Sure, once you get inside the gym and you do one set, you can focus on, leveling up your strength and your reps and stuff like that. Naturally, you probably would, but I wouldn't even say you have to do that. My goal for you is to simply get better at being consistent. You pouring a little bit of water out of the jar is the same as you doing just one single set at the gym that's really intentional and then just allowing yourself to go home after that. And I know what you're thinking. Chike, this is bad advice because a single set isn't going to incorporate enough muscle damage for you to build all the time. That's your problem. You're so focused on building when you don't even stay consistent. Your ego's in the way. If you thought, Chike, this is bad advice because just one set isn't going to do anything. I don't feel like it's going to do anything. I feel like if I go to the gym, I need to put in work. When you tell yourself that on the days when you don't feel like going to the gym, now you framed it as, okay, now you have to do 4 workouts, 5 sets each. Instead of telling yourself that you can just do one set and be fine and giving yourself more motivation and more of a tendency to go to the gym, now you're framing it as you have to do this big task when your willpower isn't at that level. Your willpower that you have is only like this, but you're telling yourself you have to do this much work. If I only have $10 in my account, I can't buy anything for more than $10. You only have $10 in your willpower account. I know that's corny, but honestly, listen to what the fuck I'm saying. You only have $10 in your willpower bank account. You need to start spending less than $10 and make it last over days at a time. It's not about your sets and how more effective and how much volume you're doing. It's about your capacity to apply more volume over a longer period of time for the span of your lifetime. That's what separates people like myself and you. I do this for life. I do this for life. Gym rats, we do this for life, so we look like this. You don't. Not because you do anything different in the gym or because your routine is worse than mine, but because you have a shittier brain than I do. Your willpower is worse when it comes to the gym than mine is. So get your ego out the way. Your ego is in the way because you think that your performance, you think, okay, I went 5 days a week this week, so I should be able to do 5 days a week next week. You think that it's the same with muscle growth. You think that your ability is supposed to be like this, and eventually, when you're building your muscles, you start growing and getting stronger, but your muscle starts to lose efficiency. And then what happens is that it starts to plateau and then it starts to dip. That's why we have deload weeks. That's why we deload. We have to do less weight to preserve more energy on your muscles and then have a rest day, have a rest week, and then level up again. That's the point. You need to preserve. You need to recover. Your mind is also a muscle as well. So you have to treat it like it. Your ego is telling you, no, I did 5 sets. I did 4, 5, 6 workouts this weekend. I should be able to do 5 sets per workout and do more. But then you don't. Every time you try, you don't do it. And every time you feel like you have to do that, you don't go. And so gym rats, we have this ability to kind of have like this playful energy with the gym. Because we allow ourselves to do less than we actually feel like we should be able to do, because we're really good at preserving our mental energy, we are able to approach the gym in a playful mood and then actually make it productive. Because let's be honest, if you follow this advice, if you just allowed yourself to do the bare minimum and do 1 set in the gym, you would have done more sets and would have had more net volume this year than you would have last year, or this month than you would have last month. Be honest with yourself. The guy who does a single set on his shitty days, first of all, you're probably going to end up doing more sets anyway, but he'll have a higher net volume than the guy who doesn't do any sets on the days where he should be hitting his push day or his pull day or his leg day or his shoulder day or whatever. So turn your brain off and follow this advice, because it's the same as being an ego lifter. If I'm maxing out every single day and doing super heavyweight every single day without any rest, eventually my muscles are going to give out. I have to give it recovery. You have to do the same thing mentally. It's the same mindset of an ego lifter. You have to look at what I'm really telling you right now. I'm telling you to level up your capacity at your worst base form of yourself. Because the truth be told, the truest definition of yourself isn't you at your best when you're well rested and well fed. It's you at your worst. That's your true definition of yourself. Your worst performance is your true performance. It's like the analogy of the weakest link. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So you have to learn to strengthen the weakest link of yourself. Self-improvement isn't when you start to perform at your best on your best weeks when you have high energy and high motivation. It's who you are at your worst. My worst is me going to the gym 4 days a week. Genuinely. My worst is 4 days a week. Sometimes it's 3 days a week. My worst weeks is minimum hitting 16 workouts a week, roughly 20 sets a day. That means that my volume is more than 100 sets per week on my worst days. Think about that. That's why I look like this. You have to level up your worst. You have to raise the base level of yourself because that's what you're going to default back to in times of calamity. That's what you're going to default back to in times when things get shitty. And that's the version of yourself that you can rely on. The golden point of self-improvement, whatever you do or whenever you're leveling up on any task or mastery, is to make the worst version of yourself better than your current best version of yourself. That's the golden point. The worst version of myself is me being able to bench 225 for 8 to 10 reps, even when I'm in a fasted state. That version of me, this current version of me, is better than the strongest version of me years ago when I could only do 225 for maybe 3 reps, 4 reps on a good day. That's what I want for you. I want your mental worst self to be better than your mental worst self last month and the month before and the month before. So by doing this advice and by following this advice, you can solve that practically. And there's other practical things that are stopping you from pursuing this because it has a lot to do with motivation, dopamine, how it is that you schedule your day, how it is that you eat. You have a lot of lifestyle habits that are preventing you from being the gym rat that you should be because truth be told, my philosophy is this: everybody's a gym rat. Everybody's into fitness. Everyone's into fitness to a varying degree because somebody with proper mental health is going to be in shape. Think about it. The guy with proper mental health and the guy who just takes care of himself, what does he look like? At the very minimum, he has a little bit of pec, some ab, he looks lean, he looks toned. The guy who takes care of himself is always going to be in shape. Naturally, you're inclined to being a gym rat. You're inclined to building more lean mass and having the body that you want. But you have a lot of lifestyle habits and the way that you frame fitness in your mindset that's completely out of whack. And that's why I think my course is perfect for you because the whole point of it is to focus on building more lean mass optimally, learning how to bulk properly with gaining as little amount of fat mass as possible so that you can look good as fuck and look attractive. But it's also about making it a lifestyle. There's a reason why I make that course one time, one buy, you have it for life. It's because everything in there is to teach you how to make fitness a lifestyle when you're a person who works full-time jobs, someone who's a part-time worker or a full-time student, because I did this now I'm active duty. I did it when I was working 2 part-time jobs in high school. I did it while I was a full-time student in college and I had a part-time job. And I did it when I had a full-time job and I was working a part-time job in the evening. I still went to the gym because I applied these principles, and it doesn't make life hard. Life is actually very easy and pursuing this goal is very easy, but you do a lot of shit that gets in your own way. If you're interested in learning how to solve those things and learning the tips and the tricks, stay tuned on this channel, but also check out the course, top link in the description if that's what you're interested in. And that's one thing that I wish that other influencers did and what other coaches did. They'll tell you what to do, they'll give you the routine, and they'll tell you what to eat. And I'll do the exact same thing for you, sure, but that doesn't really solve the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the fact that you don't have the mindset of the gym rat because you don't live the lifestyle of a gym rat. You don't understand the lifestyle and the mindset of someone who's actually fit and healthy. They don't solve the root of the problem. All they do is prescribe routines and make more YouTube videos of this is the best way to do a bicep curl. Bring your arms all the way back here like a goof ass, and then bring it up here so that you can get the best contraption. I never did that shit not once in my entire life. And I still have pretty good arms. I still have 16-inch biceps. If not, they're 16 and a half, 17 inches. I don't need to do that shit, and neither do you. But they're gonna give you all this advice and all this shit that dances around the fucking purpose of why you're not in shape in the first place. It's dancing around the issue. And then you get all these people hopping on the same fucking business model, and it just throws your ass into analysis paralysis because looking from the perspective of the guy who's new to fitness, I will look at the fitness economy for help. I will look at the fitness economy and the environment for help. And there's just so many people saying a bunch of different shit. You see people online talking about some ain't no point in being strong. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to look strong, go to the gym. But if you want to be strong, you gotta do box jumps and kettlebells and rope swings and backflips and triple decker flips. You don't gotta do all that goofy shit, bro. It's really not that deep. They make it act like fitness is more than it is. Fitness is very simple. It's just the lifestyle that you live. So I am going to give you routines. I know I was against routines and shit like that. I think a routine would be good for you because sometimes you need to just be told exactly what to do. And that's what my course does offer you, but it's also your lifestyle. And I think that's what makes my channel, makes my product a lot more different than everybody else's, because truth be told, you really just not going to get the body you want unless you just have the mindset of a gym rat. If you want to learn more, go ahead and click on this video. Goodbye.